Heroes for Hire, Infinity Watch, Doom Raid requirements, and of course what you should be building this month, all here on the monthly mid-game. Yeah, I should probably do something about that. Silver, what are the current requirements as stated by Scopely for the Doom Raids and the ISO 8 standards?
So for the first couple of nodes, we need our characters at ISO level 4, and then after like the first 5-ish nodes, it goes to level 5. So for most alliances that are like just going to be doing the bare minimum raids, that's not that bad because you don't need your whole roster of like raid teams at the max ISO. But the bigger problem is for like the end alliances who are close to 100%, who are like most of Doom Raid, because that gets really expensive.
Crofty, do you think that with all the complaints the community has been throwing out there that Scopely is going to roll these back a little bit, make it a little easier? Maybe, they've suggested doing at 0.1 one ISO class, at 0.2 ISO class 2, and at 0.3, something like that. Do you think they're going to roll it back?
Personally, no. Simple reason, they're not going to make no money if they don't sell the ISO for upgrades and stuff. They might make it a little bit easier, but too much, I don't think so. I think we're going to be...
Think they're going to just stick it to us, huh?
Yeah, they're going to stick it to us. Basically, I hope I'm wrong, but knowing Scorpions and Rome, and I've known them for the last year and a bit, so...
Yeah. Well, they have rolled back several things lately that we have been complaining about. The Silver Surfer Milestones, which takes us right into the next topic. The Silver Surfer Milestones started at, what was it, 20? Was it 20 that they started at?
No, it was either that, 29? Was it 28, 29?
28, 29, and they moved those back. They spread them out a little bit. So essentially the people who were getting to like tier 30 are still getting the same amount of shards, but now some people get access to them a little bit earlier that weren't quite getting there. That was one of the things they rolled back and made easier when the community complained. There are a handful of other things just recently that they've been doing. I personally have been getting the feeling that they are they're stating things at the absolute max crappy level, like the cost of the arena store. Those it was like 1,250 credits or something, and they rolled that back to 900. I think they're coming out with really high numbers and then seeing what, gauging the community's response, and they're going to roll it back. So I personally think that they are going to bring this down a little bit. I think the question is how much, and you may be right on this one. They do need to sell more ISOs, and it could be that they're just going to, if they do roll it back, it's not going to be a whole lot. Crofty, do you think it's important for people to be pushing hard for these Silver Surfer shards? And do you think that people should be looking into trading up in their alliances, moving to bigger and better alliances for these? How important is that?
I think Surfers, by far, top shards. If you want to be competitive, I think you need to be in an alliance what is getting you at least 4, 5, 6 shards, maybe up to 10. And then it's the armory orbs as well, because they help. They're not amazing, but they help. And then you've got the elite gear and stuff like that. So I think you need to be in an alliance what's pushing for them.
Silver, do you think that it's going to be challenging for people to find alliances like this? Do you think that alliances are looking to capitalize on people who want these Surfer milestones, or do you think it's just going to be find somebody that fits in your alliance kind of thing?
So it will probably be harder to like find people pushing for the Surfer shards with the new ISO requirements on raids because it's more selective on where you can go. Recruitment's already hard enough.
So you think that people are going to be looking for people who have like Doom Raid characters already at ISO 5 and ISO 4? You think that's going to be important?
Yeah, because otherwise they're kind of useless, the Doom Raids, if they don't have that.
Oh. So if you're planning on jumping ship, you better make sure your ISOs are up on some of those Doom Raid characters like Night Nurse and Doom himself, if you've got him unlocked. Crofty, last month we talked about this Heroes for Hire team as being pretty important. We all agreed that everyone should be building it at least to some degree. or at least saving resources for when you do get to build it. Do you still think that is a good idea?
I think so, yeah. From what I've seen, I mean, I bought Colleen and I bought Mister. I have the team up to about 360 before War Boost, and they're performing well. I think they're a pain to get rid of. We've come up against a couple. I think one we couldn't actually get around because we didn't have the teams. Another one, Silver had to punch down massively on with his Black Order. So I think until more counters are known, I think they're going to be a very important defense team.
Now, Silver, you're free to play. Are you saving resources in preparation for when you do unlock these characters, or how important are they to you?
So I do think they'll still be important at low stars because they're still going to soak up the teams that are required to. I won't be building them to gear 50 level 8 each of this because I will be stuck with like 3-star characters, but I will still bring a lot of investment.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm saving my resources. I'm not paying for them. In fact, I'm not paying for anything right now. But I will be reserving resources for them in preparation. Same thing. I think that they're going to soak up some stuff. And I've seen this build like what I'm showing on the screen here with Kestrel in it in those security adjacent rooms and security itself. And these are becoming like nightmare teams to deal with because of the Kestrel proccing every time they attack into defense down. And so I have a great big Kestrel, and I'm curious if I should start doing this also and try and rearrange our war defense to take advantage of that situation. But it all depends. I have low red stars on my Calling Wing and my Misty Knight, so I'm not sure if it's going to be worth it for me to try and build that specific version of the Heroes for Hire team. But yeah, they look to still be very important. I think everybody from the mid-level and on up should be building this team to some degree. So real quick, I wanted to go over some of the counters for that Heroes for Hire team. One thing that you can do to beat the standard version of it with like a JJ or something is to bring in this Barrow and Zemo, Red Skull, Kestrel, Crossbones, Hydra Rifle Trooper team. You need to be aware of how that functions with the health levels and the power levels of your team, because Calling Wing is going to be targeting the person with the lowest health, which needs to be Rifle Trooper so that he keeps being respawned by Red Skull. And then you need to be able to have them go after the person with the highest damage, which is probably going to be Kestrel on your team, depending on how this plays out. And she needs to be able to tank those hits. So another team that you can look at is going to be the kitchen sink team here, which is Black Bolt, Silver Surfer, Kestrel, and then you throw in Crystal and Yo-Yo to help them tank all that opening damage. Crystal's gonna, heal them back up after 50%, and of course Yo-Yo puts offense down on everybody that's attacking, gives them the ability to survive long enough, and then you got to get lucky with Surfer to strip those charges, and then use Kestrel and Black Bolt to kill them so that they can't revive, situations like that. It's pretty challenging to use. This is good for punch acrosses, not punch downs. And then, of course, if you're looking at that Heroes for Hire team that I showed earlier with Kestrel on it, well, then you're going to need something like the, here we go, this team right here. The Shadowlands team, they're able to go in, if you still have your hanger up, they can go in with Moon Knight popping off first, stripping some of those offensive buffs, and then White Tiger goes in and destroys Kestrel. This team will not one-shot them, but it will break through that shell if you're going up against the Kestrel Heroes for Hire team that's in a security-adjacent room. So you'll need to two-shot it, starting with the Shadowlands team. Silver, how do you feel about these new characters that people are purchasing? Kestrel, Silver Surfer, namely, depending on this Adam Warlock team, if they're power crept or power leaped, I don't know. What do you think about the power leap situation?
So I'm definitely being most in arena because I'm like competing with people with 5 and 6-star surfers and Kestrels, and me sitting over here with like 2 and 3-star characters.
Ouch.
It's the reason I'm putting so far for June, because he's a character that's good and guaranteed to get at 7 stars.
I'm frustrated with the release of Kestrel because I think she's overtuned. I'm okay with how Silver Surfer works. He's just really strong. And I think that in time, excuse me, I think that in time, power creep will catch up with him and it's not such a big deal. But Kestrel's kit specifically just neuters so many powerful characters that I have spent money on. And that is frustrating to me. So I hope that Scopely doesn't do any more nonsense like that. I don't mind super powerful characters as long as they don't directly destroy my investment of previous characters. And it's one reason why I switched to free to play for the time being, because I just know my investment is going to get sapped.
You're always buying into another character, what counts as another character. But Kestrel being the one character which they had to make a kit insane because nobody'd buy it if they didn't make a kit insane, because she has no ties to anybody. Whereas Surfer is a character what's loved all around. Whereas Kestrel is just a made up character, a new character.
Yeah, I think really Silver, didn't you call her the Star Wars Rey character? You know, invent somebody out of thin air who's just OP.
Exactly.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Rey.
I think that if they would have simply made it so that Sinister could clone her, I would have been okay with it. Because then free-to-play players could use Sinister to clone her and work that angle, which has always been really valuable for free-to-play players. But since they put in the also keeps him from cloning, it's upsetting. And I'm really glad I didn't put my 7th red star on Sinister. I was going to, and then she came out and I was like, no more need to do that. The value just isn't there anymore. In fact, I'm finding that a 7th red star on any character is becoming a pointless venture, because the character becomes useless just about the time you put that 7th red star on there.
Yep.
So there are ways around Kestrel's anti-summon that allows you to actually clone with Sinister. Mm-hmm. So you can use Hela, which basically activates Kestrel's anti-summon at the start of the battle, and Silver Surfer, who's 1 speed faster than Kestrel per charge.
Mm-hmm.
So there are ways, but you have to bring in a second character on your.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
the problem.
I never thought about that actually, but that's true. It's unfortunate that they're making free-to-play players work as hard as you're working at it, but it's cool that you're thinking of things like that. So good to know. Crofty, are you seeing people quitting the game right now? Are you hearing about this in the global chat rooms or anything like that? Are you hearing other alliances breaking up because people quitting the game right now?
Not more than usual. I've heard people wanting to quit and people saying they quit, but you get that all the time. It's one of them games where people end up in and they just say, oh, I'm going to quit, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, and then they're still here in a couple of days. You don't hear from them and then they're still here. But I've not, no.
Silver, do you think it's just a blip in the radar that we're hearing some of these more prominent players and even some content creators that are quitting the game or drawing back from the game? Do you think this is just a statistical outlier, or do you think this is a start of a domino effect?
I mean, people have been quitting this whole time this game has been up. They've always found problems that they don't like. With that, they just don't wait for changes to happen. Personally, I don't mind, because that's just less people I have to.
Do you think that with Yags and Cindy quitting and trouble in some of the top 10 alliances and things like that, these rumblings, do you think this is going to cause Scopely to take note and make any changes, or do you think that they're just going to adjust their pricing accordingly to make up for some of these top spenders stepping down? To you, Silver.
I do think that they know that what's happening. We've had things like Legion of Cabal break up, had top end players quitting. Whether changes are going to be made because of that remains to be unknown, because it's kind of hard to tell what Scopely does in reaction to the.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Crofty? You think that they're going to make any changes, or do you think it's just business as usual?
I think it's business as usual more or less. I mean, one big spender's not going to make a change because there's still hundreds and hundreds of other people that are spending big, massive amounts of money. Look at all the content creators. I heard rumours that Philosopher had spent 100,000, Casino and OMG had spent 40,000 odd. There's still mad numbers being thrown about. So one person change is not going to make a change. Somebody else is going to step into that role for me. So they might make little changes, maybe bring the price down a little bit or less. I don't know. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. Really don't.
Silver, tell me about what's going on with the in-game economy.
Okay, so we've gotten some information on like gear pieces from yesterday's blog post. So I do think that they're good changes and that they will help, but there's more to the economy other than just gear. Things like more ions with the trade stuff. So it's a good start, but I don't think it's enough yet.
Okay.
Agreed.
Silver, tell me your first impression on Adam Warlock, Nebula, Gamora, and what has just now been announced, Moondragon. What are your thoughts on this team so far?
So I do think that they're going to be pretty good, and I'm waiting for Nebula's assist and counter info to be released before I decision on whether I build this team operation around unlocking.
Yeah, and
But I
now
do think that
that's
they will
the she does 10% damage. She does 10% of the enemy's
Basic.
health damage on her basic, and we need to know if that's going to happen on her assist and counters, if that's going to take place too, because that would make a big difference in how good a character she is. What about
because
Gamora?
Gamora, so she's gaining a ton of stat boost, and I do think she'll hit really hard with power state.
Mhm.
So I think she'll be the biggest damage dealer on the.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
Yeah.
I think she's going to be massive.
Okay, and we assume it's going to be Phyla-Vell as the fourth to the team, and she's going to be doing an assist off of Moondragon. So it's probably going to be Phyla-Vell as a skirmisher, Moondragon as a striker or healer, maybe. And then, what do you, Crofty? What do you think for the ISOs on Nebula and Gamora? You think maybe a striker skirmisher combo, kind of like that of Hawkeye and Black Widow?
I think so. Yeah, I think it. Like I said, everything all depends on Nebula's basic. I think that's like the linchpin of this team, not of the team, but you know what I mean, of the main damage.
How it plays out, yeah.
Yeah. So I think we need to see what that happens first, and then decide on the Milestones, because Nebula's kit could turn out to be insane.
And of course, we don't have stats on Moondragon. We just know her kit. We don't have her stats, and we aren't for sure on Phyla-Vell or how that comes out. Normally, Scopely, Boundless, whatever they're going by these days, tends to release the best character last, which is kind of weird that they threw Adam Warlock out in front. They advertised him. They knew to advertise him when they were putting out the Heroes for Hire videos. And so they put him out. He's a legendary. So I'm really curious how Phyla-Vell is going to come out. I really hope they don't do something stupid like make a double legendary team out of this or something like that. That would be really frustrating. But I think something's in the works for Phyla-Vell that they're, you know, bringing her out last and the order of the release on this team. So it's kind of interesting, but I don't really know how it's going to play out. At first, I thought this is a straight up Black Order killer team, and that's about all they're doing, which is kind of dumb because the community's already figured out how to beat Black Order without anything special, and their time is long gone. But whatever, it's great for a war offense. If somebody throws their Black Order on defense, you just come in with Adam Warlock and friends, and away they go. I'm curious how this team is going to play in other game modes. It does not look like they'll be that great at raids because of their sustained character, which is Moondragon, has really long cooldowns. Doesn't look like this is going to be a very raid viable team. However, with the defense up and deflects and safeguard features, maybe they don't need rapid cooldowns because they can just tank damage on their own. I'm not sure, but it doesn't look like raid's viable to me. More like throw some of them in on some sort of an arena offense, maybe. Other than that, it looks like it's a war offense and blitz team primarily. What do you think, Crofty? Do you see any other value in this team other than war offense?
I don't think so, because I was looking at it when I seen the kits and I read the kits for the first time. It was like you said, Black Order counter. Why do we need a Black Order counter when Black Order was the team months ago? But they're going to have some. They're going to have some offense on war, and maybe you'll see some of them in arena, but all for all, I don't think. Unless this other character does the File of Eld, she may add something that's what we don't know about. Like I say, she might be some sort of a battery, so you might be able to get them cooldowns a little bit quicker.
Oh, that's
But
true.
we'll
I never
see.
thought about that. Yeah, if
Yeah.
she passes energy off on like her basic counter or something like that, every time she's assisting Moondragon and gives her energy, something ridiculous like that, then yeah, now suddenly it's a raid team. So I never thought about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So there's we just got to wait and see. So yeah, it looks like it's a
This
valuable
team's
team, a
hitting all
powerful
the
team, but not OP.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a team what you want to have, but you need to have. Well, you're not going to need to have, but you're going to want to have because depending on the stats of Gamora and then that basic of Nebulas and then what Moondragon does, it's an interesting team. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Silver, how do you feel about the unlock method of Adam Warlock with Jubilee and the 4 X Factor team? How does that factor into your schedule?
Well, it's a bit weird having Jubilee go with X Factor. They could have just done like all astonishing X-Men. They're not going to do that because they're the best raid team. But
Yep.
I'm definitely not going to be getting him first time around. They have introduced other requirements besides the stars. So like tier 7 gear 14. There's every. And while it is a good team, it's still a lot of investment.
Yeah. What's your predictions on where the X Factor members will appear for farming?
We've already got where Longshot is, and that's been confirmed. He's going to be the Warsaw, which is the reason I started saving my Warsaw credits, which is a bit of a pain because I'm primarily buying 15 pieces from there. I think me and Silver spoke about it yesterday. Shatterstar is probably going to be an arena character.
Yeah. You think he'll appear in the arena orb and then filter down like Scream?
In the orb, sorry, yeah, he'll be in the orb and then Scream will drop down and then your Red Guardian will become a 500 farm.
I could see Polaris maybe being a Blitz release character, Blitz store, because
do you think Polaris might replace Domino in the Blitz orb?
I could see that happening.
Oh, I hope so. Because I've got so many of those orbs saved up. So many of those things saved up. I got hundreds. I really hope so. That would be fantastic. And then, of course, Mum appears in one of the Doom campaigns. Yeah, 3-9. So
Taskmaster goes to Cosmic 2-6, I believe.
Yeah. So save your War Store energy for Longshot. You're kind of screwed on the Arena Store with Shatterstar, but he, most people have him pretty close to 5 stars anyways. He was a relatively easier release. Polaris, I mean, if you didn't spend money on Polaris, then you gotta, you're gonna have to burn through Blitz currency or wherever she appears. I think that might be one place where Scopely screws the community.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one, definitely. I think she's gonna be the awkward one to get.
Yeah.
Because the others are Warstore. I know it's a pain just because you need that currency for so many different things. But you're gonna be able to pick him up. Like I said, Shatterstar was released as an event campaign, so I got mine at 6 star, so I'm alright for him. And then Mum is at 3-9, and them last 3 nodes on 3-7 to 3-9, they're pretty easy to do. Keshla can basically solo them at G13.
Silver, to recap for this month, what do you think the people in our alliance should be working on?
So, we're getting the Jubilee event soon. That'd be a good time to start working teams because we just bumped up difficulties. So it'd be nice to have the alliance be able to be easier. Now that we have the Heroes for Hire being released by Blitz, we can start working on those teams a better sense.
Okay. So get your Jubilee up and running for raids, and get your Heroes for Hire on a back burn, kind of simmer. Get them going, get them in defense to slow the enemy down. Crofty, what do you think that everybody should be working on?
I think Silver's hit it on the head. Get your Jubilee up and running. They don't need to be massive. I'm at 7.5 and I'm running mine at 320k. So they don't need to be huge. And then I think get Heroes for Hire up for running. If you're on a flat deck, then maybe you don't need to. maybe you stick to your war offense teams. But I think we need them teams, heroes for hire. We need at least 4 or 5 big teams to stand a chance of starting to win wars, because it's going to start getting dicey, I believe.
I think that if this issue with the heroes for hire with Kestrel in the defense down room, if it becomes critical, if the bigger content creators and alliances are having trouble with this and formulating defenses around that situation, and Scopely doesn't sell us anything to solve it right away, I think that actually Marauders are going to be a little bit valuable also, because people will be having to save their Shadowlands teams to get through this little situation that's occurring right now. Either that or somebody finds a new solution we haven't thought of yet, but they're going to have to save their Shadowlands for that, which means you're going to use your X Factor for Marauders or some other thing. A little bit of shift. This Heroes for Hire defense is kind of amazing in how it's forcing us to move resources around, create new hybrid teams all over the place. It's actually a really fun meta to be working in, and I kind of enjoy it a lot. So it's interesting, and we're just going to have to watch and see how that plays out. But yeah, I think for now, the Alliance should definitely be building Jubilee and their Axemen for raids. Be farming the 24 ISO nodes for the ions as much as possible. Your controllers are the ones that you're going to need to be farming the actual pieces for the ion crystals or whatever they're called. Get those saved up, because eventually you're going to need to get into Doom raids, and we don't know for sure if Scopely's going to be drawing that back. So yeah, Axemen, save up your ions, save some resources for this Hero for Hire team if you're not already buying them, and yeah, you should have things pretty well covered for this month. All right, thank you guys for joining me and Crofty and Silver today. Hopefully Hollywood will be back next month. He was dealing with some weather issues and stuff, so we couldn't get him in here. But I hope you appreciated what we had to talk about. Don't just have a good game. Be good to each other too. Thanks. Bye.